Hi guys, welcome back to Too Cool for Middle School. My desk area is a mess. I've been super busy this week. This is all my planning stuff. That's what I try and do to stay organized. But I've been really busy because I've been teaching and coaching. And a few of you have asked for tips on how to coach and teach at the same time. So first of all, let me say, please coach a team if you possibly can. I think that sports, especially for girls in middle school, is so important. Believe it or not, I was actually cleaning this area up a couple days ago and I found my senior thesis that I wrote in 2010, and it is called The Beneficial Necessity of Physical Activity for the Academic Success, Health, and Well-Being of Adolescent Girls. I remember when I was doing the research for this paper, and it was just amazing to me what an impact, what a positive impact sports have on adolescent girls. And I know they did for me. When I was in middle school, I was obsessed with sports. That's pretty much all I cared about. Basketball was my life. I also played volleyball. And I know that because I played sports, that really affected my body image of myself. So, for one thing, you do just stay a little bit healthier when you play sports, and it does kind of help you to keep a healthy body. But at the same time, I looked at my body as something that could run quickly and serve a volleyball and make a three-pointer and beat a boy at basketball during lunchtime. Literally at lunch, I would play a different boy in basketball every single day of the week. I would challenge all these guys to one-on-one games. Being good at sports just gave me so much confidence, probably too much confidence really. I loved being a part of a team. I loved wearing my school colors. I loved having the uniform. I loved playing in front of people. And I really did take pride in being a girl who could play sports and who was athletic and who was fast and who could beat guys when we ran the mile or when we did push-ups or whatever. So that really did affect the way that I carried myself, the way that I felt about my body. I was not one of those girls who cared very much about what boys thought. I didn't let guys pressure me into anything because I didn't ever feel like they had any ownership or any control over my body, because I knew that I controlled it and I did what I wanted with it. So I just feel that sports are so important on such a deep, deep level for especially middle school girls, because that's the time when your body is changing so much and you really need something to give you confidence in your body, because it's tough. I do remember, it's still not like I thought I had a perfect body or anything. I still had insecurities, but the fact that I knew that I could do something positive with my body at the same time, that really counteracted things. So all that to say, please coach sports if you can, just to support the sports at your school. Now, high school, coaching a varsity team, that's a really, really big commitment, and that's something different. I would have different advice about that. But for middle school sports, I have a few tips for you. First of all, let me just show you my shirt. I love this. It's like a volleyball heart, and these are our school colors, blue and yellow. These were actually my school colors when I was in middle school as well. And then 2 of the middle schools that I've worked at have been these 2 colors. I need to get a bigger size, I think. Well, for sure. They run a little small. I'm kind of warping the image here, so I need to get a large. This one is a medium, so these run a little bit small. I'll leave a link below. They're by Design Pick'em, so if you are into volleyball or you have daughters that play volleyball or something, I think these shirts are so cute. I just need a little bit more wiggle room in mine, but I've been wearing this for coaching. My co-coach and I both got these, and so it's been really fun to wear these. So thank you so much to Design Pick'ems for sponsoring us with our cute shirts. So my tips for coaching middle school sports, and I'm just going to talk about volleyball for now because that's what I'm currently coaching. I also coached softball, I was going to say soccer, softball last year, and I might be coaching basketball this year. I don't know if I have too much advice for learning how to play the sports. I'm just coaching things that I played, so I know the rules, I know how to coach it, I know how to play it. If you've never played the sport before, I don't know how to help you so much there, but my husband coaches basketball professionally. I mean, like, he's been doing that forever, and he's very, very good. And he has stacks and stacks of DVDs that he orders online, and he studies plays and drills and warm-ups and all kinds of stuff all the time. So he gets really, really into it. I don't get as into it because the season for us is only like 2 months long. But a couple of things, when you have tryouts, one thing that we did this year that I thought went really well is we did a lunch tryout that was just kind of like a preview. Like, we just wanted girls to come, sign in so that we knew how many people were trying out. This year I think we had about 50 girls try out for, you know, like 20 spots. But we just wanted to know. So we had them come, you know, sign up. We had clipboards for the different grade levels, 6th, 7th, and 8th. At our school, we do an 8th grade team and then like a 6th and 7th grade team. So we call it like JV and varsity just to make them feel cool, but it's just those 2 teams. So it was nice to have kind of like a preview tryout just to get girls out there. We kind of explained to them the time commitment. We've got games on Thursdays. So, you know, there were a few girls that were like, oh, I have piano lessons on Thursdays. And we're like, well, games are on Thursdays, so if you can't be there, this is probably not something to try out for. So just make them aware of the time commitment and the schedule and all of that, and just kind of get a general idea of their skill level and just get their information. If they need like a permission slip or something, it's nice to do that at a tryout where it's not as serious. So then we had another tryout a couple days later, and we already had all of their names. And I didn't know all of the girls. I knew most of them, but what I had them do is, like, let's say they were serving, I just had them say their name before they served. And so then I'd be like, okay, and I would just give them a score based on their serve, like a 1 through 5. Or if they were in a bump circle and I was looking at their passes, I would have them say their name every time they hit the ball, just so that I was sure that I was giving the score to the right person. And like I said, I had a ton of girls try out, so I did do a cut, and then I had another tryout after that. And then I was able to get a little closer look at the girls who I was pretty sure were good, but, you know, I needed to kind of compare them closely. So it may take several days of tryouts, so give yourself a little bit of wiggle room on your tryouts. My other tip is that you're going to have, you know, somebody that like can't make it to tryouts or something happens. So I had 2 girls that had legitimate reasons for not being at tryouts. One girl had heat stroke. It was like 106 degrees during the week of tryouts for us. And so her doctor said she couldn't do any physical activity until her next appointment. So that was a very legit excuse, you know? And then I had another girl who was out for religious reasons, and they were out past all of the tryouts. So what I had them do was just come to our first practice, and I just considered that their tryout. So sometimes you have to be a little bit flexible with middle schoolers and just, you know, find creative ways for them to get everything done. The other thing that I would try to do is have a parent meeting where they all come, or as many parents as you can get, right before the season starts, and give them a schedule of when all the practices are and all the games. The kids at my school tend to be very, very busy. They're all on like drill team or orchestra or band, or they take piano lessons, or some kids have like pitching lessons and hitting lessons for softball because they're in all kinds of sports and music and everything. So you need the parents to know what they're required to come to. And you have to keep in mind that middle schoolers don't have a ton of control over their schedule. Their parents still, you know, have to give them rides everywhere and kind of decide on certain things for them. So I try and be a little bit more flexible with middle schoolers than I would be with high schoolers. We have practice on Mondays and Tuesdays, and then our games are on Thursdays. And we have practice for an hour or an hour and a half depending on what time we get out that day, because our schedule is really weird. If you watch my Instagram stories, you know that our schedule is kind of crazy. So we have practice twice a week, and that just gives us time to kind of bond as a team and work on our skills. As a middle school coach, you're kind of like a trainer slash coach. Like, you will be having to teach them the basics of some of the skills, which is fine. So we do a lot of like training in our serves and our bumps and stuff like that. So you need to be able to kind of be more like a PE teacher slash coach. The other big thing to think about with middle school is that this is a competitive league. Like, you're playing for your school. This is like school pride, but at the same time, this is not the NBA. So if parents are coming out to watch their kid, they're going to be upset if their kid doesn't play. So you probably need to play everybody, which means that you can't have a gigantic team. So the mistake that I made last year was I had 80 girls try out, and I wanted to keep as many of them as possible. So I had a volleyball team of 15 girls. Only 6 play at a time, and sometimes the games go really fast because it's rally scoring. So there were times when there was like one girl that never got in, and I had parent complaints about that because, you know, the mom got off work early and picked up her other kids and came down to the game, and then her daughter didn't even play. So I understand from the parent standpoint that that's really frustrating, but on your end, it's really hard to get everyone in if you've got a huge bench. So keep it kind of small. I mean, with volleyball, you can go like 10, 11, 12. I ended up with 12 this year because I did have those 2 girls that came to like a later tryout, and it turned out they were really good, so I kept them. But try not to have a really big bench, and have a plan for how you're going to get everybody in. There are definitely girls that are going to be better than others. So one thing you can try to do is have like your starting 6, and then really early in the game, you know, just like mix in a few of the players that probably aren't going to get as much playing time, just so that, you know, you've at least gotten some in there. But you are playing to win, so you know, it's not rec ball where everybody gets equal playing time. So at that parent meeting that you hopefully get to have, let them know everyone will get to play, but the playing time will not necessarily be equal. And just expect some pushback. I haven't had any this year, not like last year anyway. Most of the parents have been pretty supportive, but I know there are girls that want more playing time. Sometimes I have girls that like ask for more playing time, and I just ask them like, okay, are all of your serves going over? And they're like, I'm like, are all of your bumps controlled and staying in? And so then, you know, at practice, you can kind of allow them to evaluate themselves a little bit. And of course, it's not all about winning at this point, but you know, you are teaching them competition, and you are teaching them that like you do have to work hard at practice and even on your own time to get playing time, and you're trying to prepare them for high school. Another great resource for sports teams is Remind. I have the Remind app on my phone because I don't have all of the girls on my volleyball team in my classes, and sometimes I need to let them know like, okay, meet at the benches for practice today, we have a few things to go over, or whatever. Or I'll just like text them pictures that I took of the game or whatever. So get the Remind app, because then they can all get on that. At the first practice, I make sure that everybody has it on their phones, and then that's a way that I can communicate with them. And it's kind of just like this big group text, and they can message you back if they're over 13, or they can just lie and say that they're over 13, but it's a quick way for people to get a hold of you, and then they can like let you know if they're not going to be at practice or if they're sick or something like that. So that's like a lifesaver to me. Plus the parents can contact me through that as well. And try to, you know, make friends with the parents as much as you can. If you've got parents that are willing to bring like Capri Suns or Gatorade or snacks for your team, that's a huge plus. I think that's always appreciated. So if there is a parent that can kind of organize that and, you know, set up different days when different parents are going to bring snacks, that's always nice. A bonus, but nice. The last thing that I would say is before every game, like maybe the practice before every game, I always go around in a circle and have each player tell me their goal for the upcoming game. So maybe it's make all my serves, or get 3 good spikes, or control all of my bumps, or, you know, move my feet as soon as the other team serves, or something like that. So allow them time to like reflect and prepare mentally for the game coming up. My last tip for you is to organize a field trip to go see the high school team play. So last year when I was coaching softball, we took a field trip to go see the high school softball players. And it's great because it lets them see like a higher level of play and kind of like aspire to that and see where their skills need to be by the time they are a 9th grader. Plus it's just a nice little like team building activity, and it's just a fun time to hang out with your team. So I need to get that organized for this year. We need to go watch a high school volleyball game, and you should always wear, you know, like your school colors or something, because it's good for the high school coach to see that your middle school, if there are like multiple middle schools, are focused on trying to make that high school team, and they're serious about it and they're coming and watching. So as much as you can, kind of foster a relationship with the high school team or that freshman or JV coach, so that you can try and help your girls or your guys move up to that next level. I think that's an important part of being a coach, is taking those talented players and making sure that they know how to move up to the next level. So if you are also a middle school coach, let us know down below in the comments, what do you coach and what are some of your tips for having a great season? And if you coach volleyball or you're a volleyball mom, get one of these shirts because I just think they're so dang cute. And again, I just think middle school sports, especially for girls, I know it's important for guys too. My husband covers that, so I'm not too worried. They've got that. But for the girls, I want to make sure that they have, a coach that's passionate about sports and can be a good example for them and really just encourages them to be athletic and take pride in their athleticism. So even though I literally have no time, I have no business coaching right now, I have no time, it's so, I'm so stressed out right now, but just because I believe in this so strongly, that's why I do it. So thank you so much for watching, thank you for ignoring the mess behind me, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!